All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Oregairu, Season 3, Episode 10.
With this episode, there's only 3 episodes left. I'm not ready. Not ready to say goodbye. And I'm not ready for probably the pain that is soon to ensue.
In a lot of ways, I think, though, because we had the whole stuff with the Gahamama and
very powerful.
The family of Yui. It was something where I almost feel like a lot of that pain has been kind of brought up in a sweet way, where it's like, yes.
Yeah. The tarts were returned. Hachiman will make them again on his own. But apparently there's a special ingredient in these tarts.
Oh no. Why would you do that, Hachiman? Man. I understand that he really does want... Hope. I really understand that he does want to do what Yukino asked and help fulfill Yui's wish. But it needs to be genuine, man. Yeah. It needs to be genuine.
But there was also something that Iroha said of like a special request or whatever of Hachiman on behalf of the late president. Maybe he would be able to fulfill it. But yeah.
So now that things seem to be looking positive, at the very least, with regards to the way the school is moving towards things with the prom, this could be the prom episode.
It could be.
It really could be. Yes. They had their little graduation kind of opening ceremonies kind of thing.
That's true.
So it's probably about now, or it's going to start at the end of this episode. So, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion.
Okay.
That was an incredible episode.
That was episode 10 of season 3.
Episode 10.
Oh, and, boy.
We got
only 2 episodes left.
Yeah, we got the prom. We got ourselves some huge developments with regards to how Yukino and, well, the rest of the volunteer club will be going about things in the little bit of the future that we have left.
Yeah, so what do we want to talk about first?
So let's go linearly as much as we can. The proms initially first. We see very quickly that Hachiman has a little bit of awkwardness with Yukino around the fact that she's like, yeah, he's here and he's helping.
He's helping, right?
And, okay, gotcha.
Yep, I didn't ask him. That's wanting him to help, not me. So
Right. And Iroha's smart enough to know that she's probably aware that what she's doing is somewhat, uncomfortable and so forcing these tensions into place so that she can, be that nice kind of calming, convenient option if he wants to choose her.
But then also giving them jobs that don't interact too much, even though they do interact a little bit.
Actually, I think he was given extra opportunities for them to interact. I think that was her point, was that she's kind of aware that she didn't want him here. And that's why she's forcing them to interact. It will basically make the decision on his part easier, and then make the tension be brought up to the surface if there is any there. So I don't know. I think Iroha has a pretty big brain as far as that goes.
She was watching attentively when they talked.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So.
But I really loved how their awkwardness surrounding the whole thing of like, I'm not trying to help you. I'm just here because Iroha's. She's like, no, I get it. You don't need to apologize for over this stuff. And, there's this very perceptive kind of air about Yukino in that she's kind of understanding the meta with regards to what other characters want in these situations. And so it's kind of cool to be able to see, at least, even though we never get first-person perspective from her, where she's at and all this. But then, holy crap, Iroha goes in.
That conversation, holy shit.
In for the kill. And yet she had just enough awareness of how he operates that she didn't force him to say yes to her.
Right, or no.
Or no, that's true.
The not forcing him to say yes, I think that is really important, because when it comes right down to it, she's after something genuine.
Exactly.
And
well said.
It doesn't take a genius to look at the situation with Yui and know that is not desirable.
Exactly.
And even Yui knows that, even though Yui isn't as set on something genuine. She even knows that enough because she wasn't the one who actually asked for it.
Right.
Yukino made Hachiman do it, right?
Yep, exactly.
So,
But I love Iroha banter with Hachiman.
Yep.
It's
fantastic.
So good. It's so good.
Wonderful.
Also, the way she found a way to at least one more time give a roundabout segue into the
confession.
Chotomate, is this some kind of,
Wait until the prom's over. That's later tonight.
That's literally later tonight.
Yeah.
And even Hachiman kind of played around with it to the point where he was basically like saying, no. If we keep doing this, the prom will never end. So let's hurry it up and get back to work. Which is basically like saying in a playful way, if you want something here to happen,
let's hurry up and get to that point where it could happen. Yeah.
And yet she knows that's not actually serious.
That doesn't mean a yes.
That doesn't mean a yes, no.
Yeah.
And then the bringing up the thing of want to do it again next year. He's like, you'll be throwing next year's prom for me,
Yeah.
And then she's like,
I
don't mean the prom.
Club.
I mean the volunteers club.
Which is man.
That is so much bigger than just the idea of like her propositioning for him to do like, stuff with her in general.
Sure.
Because she's done that to him in the past. And
hold my bags.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the way she seriously just stares at him through the course of this, being like, no, you don't understand.
Right.
I want in.
Yeah.
I want in.
I want in, even if it means you're spending more time with those two.
Yep.
Right? Because when it comes right down to it, even though I might bluster and put up fronts and facades and things,
like this.
I also want something genuine.
Exactly.
And I know it's the impossible long shot. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind. I really love the way Iroha kind of fills this interesting gap, personality-wise, between Yukino and Yui, and yet is on a different... If they're a triangle, basically, and they're each at three ends of the triangle, it's very cool to see
how she makes it a pyramid.
Iroha basically is the one that makes it that, exactly, that three-dimensional object there. She draws from both of them, and yet she has her own extreme aspects of her.
And I love that, because I remember when the Season 2 OP played for the first time, and we had the new art style and everything, and we saw Iroha, for a second I thought that was just like a new art style for Yui, because they look fairly similar, And there was this part of me that was like, wait, is she just like slightly altered Yui? Like what are the ways that she's distinct? But over the course of the series, she has done plenty to make sure that we know exactly what kind of person Iroha is and what kind of person she isn't.
Yeah.
And this confession, really, even though it was again that bit of backpedaling, that she gave him an out.
And that's basically to show that she really does care about him. Because she listens and understands to the fact that there are aspects where he feels too compelled to say yes that he throws away what's genuine for the sake of others.
And yet she's not afraid to use all weapons at her disposal.
Yeah, make it very tempting as
I'll
a
give
suggestion.
You the perfect excuse if you want.
I'm your ally.
We know what's on the table here. This is what we're talking about. I'm going through the motions and jumping through the hoops in order to hopefully increase my chances as much as I can, because I know how you think and how you act.
Right.
But let's not beat around the bush too much here.
After joking about the ways in which if people if guys hang out with her within 3 times of talking, they're already saying her first name. 5, they're trying to get an opportunity to hang out. And then, comes a confession immediately after that.
And I want to, so my memory of this isn't great.
Okay.
But I want to look back and compare how that example that Iroha used works the other way around with her to Hachiman.
It was a lot more times interacting, but I understand what you're getting at. The idea is that he basically ended up multiple times going over to help her with the student council stuff, right?
Yep.
But there were quite a few times where it just happened, and it was the slow transition of how much she kind of let him in, if that makes sense.
You know you're gross. I can never fall to you. oh yeah, I have a boyfriend. Oh yeah, not right now.
Yeah. But that was definitely a progression.
Yes.
Similar, if not, exactly the same. Yeah. But I have to give like major props to the story framing for setting up them in the box room to have their one-on-one conversation, because once she said, you're going to be the sound assistant, you can do the thing that I was basically wanting to do, but I'm going to be running around so much, you can be up there when I'm not. I was like, there's going to be a very key time where they're up there alone and no one else is up there and they're going to have a really big conversation, and what do you know? Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Right.
But actually, for the majority of the event, yes, she was not up here. This was basically just Hachiman's zone, which, if you think about it, is the exact kind of thing he would have wanted.
Yep.
Think about how well crafted this box is for him.
Yeah.
He hates the idea
He can
of
be
this prom.
totally by himself, and yet he can observe and give snide commentary to literally anyone.
Well, I mean, not
anyone.
Anyone that's on the behind the scenes.
Right. Yeah.
But I was saying the point is that he gets to be away from this chaos that is the prom, because he doesn't like that aspect of it at all.
Yep.
Then he gets to basically, like you're saying, manage the whole thing and be in communication and observe other people and stuff.
If reception was the worst place for him to be, this is as far removed, literally, like physically and functionally from reception as a role could be.
Yeah. So I have to give like props for the way this is set up, because there are times when stories have conflict or interactions that are forced because the writer really wants to have that conflict or setup really happen. And there are other times where you can tell based on the way that the characters act and interact that you can predict what they're going to say, or you can predict what they're going to do. And this is exactly that.
Yeah.
This is such a perfect scene in that respect. And it's mirrored so well with the Yui scene that comes later, as she leans on his leg and whispers into his ear and gives, her nice little moment there, and then pulls her back in a way and
goes to her
basically
laptop.
does
back to business.
Back to business. I just got rejected. That's not what's happening here. Because what we need to keep in context here is that she basically had said, if I did this with literally any other guy in the school, they would have been like, oh my gosh,
Right. Yeah. So the fact that I'm intentionally doing this is because, well, that's the response I want. Yeah.
Wow. It's just, it's really good. I understand the Iroha fans.
Oh, absolutely.
So much.
If anything, the only reason why she wouldn't work as like the main love interest basically is that she doesn't have enough flaws.
Well, no, she definitely has flaws. She's extremely manipulative. She very much has
absolutely
a greedy, obsessive personality.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to argue.
Very
that.
haughty, She has actually a lot of the flaws that the other two girls have as well.
Sure, but I would say that with the almost rule of cool that she's kind of been written with.
Yeah, but that's. You can still have rule of cool and have personal flaws,
No, totally. But let's just say that if she was the main female lead, this show would not go on for 3 seasons.
Totally not. No, exactly. But that's because Hachiman is the main boy. Hachiman, in a lot of ways, is not really one who would choose her. That's just not who he is.
I don't know. If she had been around since the first season,
yeah, we've debated on this.
Well might have.
But I want to bring up this bit here where he calls her a good person.
Oh.
Because one of the things that I think was kind of a subtle, and maybe it was actually directly brought up, was the idea that in season 2, there's this idea that she's like, I'm a bad person. I'm not a good person.
Sure,
basically.
She puts up the facade of being nice and all that, and then you actually see she's awful.
Yeah.
She's likably awful, but she's awful.
Exactly. And that's my whole thing I was talking about. You're talking about the rule of cool is how likable she is and how good she is at getting what she wants. But in terms of her personality at that time...
That's when I say that's strictly from an audience perspective.
Totally. But she's changed.
Yep.
She's not that person in season 2 anymore.
No, she isn't.
Like, look at this kind of stuff here. The fact that she knew that she would have been able to get him into this whole setup if she said and did things a certain way.
And she was absolutely the type to manipulate. She still is, just not with Hachiman. Not with
Hachiman.
Not
She
with
wants
the
this
stuff
to be
that's
genuine.
important.
Yep, exactly. But she just tried to gently coax an answer out of me instead. And then he says, "You're a seriously good person." Seriously could also be a synonym for genuinely.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and it's And it's I'm saying that because I know that it might seem like that from the outside, and then that's not the case. But I'm not going to say no. Even with getting that peek behind the curtain, you're a good person.
Yeah. And then I may not seem like it, but I'm all sorts of convenient. Because that I may not seem like it is basically like saying I very much appreciate the way that you see past the seeming.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the fact that Iroha very much does have these parts of her that other people would look at and maybe go a little bit. I feel like this is just a really beautiful way of showing that she really values how Hachiman sees her.
Sure.
And it's not just that they have really good banter and stuff like that, but it's it's basically the thing of saying, I know, I have an illusion that's still over me, where I'm not perfectly genuine. But with you, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That line of I may not seem like it, but I'm all sorts of convenient also just broke my heart because when someone's trying to pour their heart out to somebody and get them to see them in a certain light, when they have to tell the other person that they're convenient, that is
it's a little sad.
That's a bit sad.
Yeah.
And not that I think less of Iroha for saying that or anything like that, but that communicates a level of almost sadness, I would say, within the person, right? Not observing the person, but within the person themselves.
Right.
That can't be understated, and it would be easy to gloss over given that Iroha puts up that facade.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do my best to consider that proposal with an open mind. It's like, hey, that's just code for absolutely not. Yeah, that is absolutely that. And yet, see, they're right back into banter, and they laugh.
Right.
And we go on to the actual setup of the prom. And Yui gets a dance.
Yep.
And she...
Just one last wish.
Very much jumped back off of the thing of once she asked for the dance. And she did her little curtsy. It was so cute. And he kind of has this shocked look, and she's quickly like, "Just kidding, huh? I'm so embarrassed. Yeah, this isn't that sort of dance, but no, let's do this. Hey, you're the one who asked first." And then the just most adorable hand holding.
And this is not dance. like a fun high energy dance. This is a slow dance.
Slow dance.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
All right,
yeah,
just the one dance. Oh, maybe the next one will be the last. Okay.
Yeah.
And we don't even see the next dance.
Nope.
Which we don't need to, right? But one of the things that I like to think that leaves up in the air, there's a very good possibility that the next dance was the last one.
Yep.
But there's also a very good possibility that Yui also wanted to, say that same thing again.
Yep.
At the end of that one. And again.
And again.
Fake being asleep.
Yeah.
But
that's for them. That's for them. We don't need to see that.
Yep. No, we don't. Now we get the little fun Yukino and Hachiman little banter back and forth there. Yep. I loved the thing of, you're not big enough for shoulder pain, though I won't specify what part of you. And then she's like, wait, did you... Would you mind repeating that? Like, the fact that Hachiman has the balls to make a boobs joke, at this part, in the prom thing where there could have theoretically been another person on the channel. Yeah.
It feels very much like season 1.
Oh,
in a very, funny way.
Yep.
And you can tell that she has this smile and smirk on her face of, don't lie. You love my boobs. Don't even go there.
Say that again.
Yeah, say it again. I dare you. you. And while Yukino does like the idea of putting that little bit of fear in this man, she loves him. She loves him a lot.
Yep. She
And
does.
it's these little moments here where they're able to crack a bit of jokes and have fun with that, that they kind of get lulled into the idea that they can have all this.
Right. And then there comes the thing of let's make this end. I expect you to grant that wish.
Yeah. It's her kind of being like, hey, let's jump back to reality here.
Yeah.
This needs to run its course. Now, we get suddenly a wild Haruno and Mother! The demon mother. Now, we get boss music, dude.
This was some straight
shit.
up boss music.
This was some shit.
Even after she's like, I'll be supportive of you and stuff, it's like, why do I get the feeling you're just about to enrage?
Yeah, exactly. Back.
Throw the salt.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the father, is it really? But, okay. The way, though, this leads into the Haruno setup, though, is perfect.
Yeah,
Now, Haruno has been the character that I think I have had the most topsy-turvy feelings about. I love Haruno as a character.
Yes.
There have been times where I've liked her more than I do right now.
Oh, sure.
But they are, like, one or two times.
Yeah, like,
this was one of the best Haruno moments in the series.
And at the same time, I hate her. It is a quantum superposition where it's both at the same time. And not hate her as a character. No, I got you. Yeah. Oh, because
she has so much power.
She has so much power, and every time she comes into the scene, my attention is arrested. I am on the edge of my seat to see what she's going to do, what she's going to say, who she's going to give those sidelong glances at, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And this was the one where I feel like she actually finally bared herself.
Yeah. And this is the line. Well, she throws a little bit of a jab at Yui. She says, well, because at the very least, I'm not satisfied. It's like, what? I can't possibly accept that this little development matches my 20 years of experience. Now, what that is that's admitting actually the truth of the situation. She's, in some ways, saying, I can't accept this, so I deny it. Therefore, I am admitting its reality because it's so pressing on me that I have to intentionally deny it.
Oh, okay. I like it.
See, this is
opposed to just not addressing it kind of a thing?
Right. Because you can't deny something that doesn't exist. See,
if you deny it, then that means at the very least you acknowledge the concept of it.
Well, no. So let me bring something up. In order to observe something of this nature, it's outside of you specifically. This little development. You basically said this is something that has no direct interaction with me. It is something that is its own thing out there. I do not accept the value judgment that it is equal to what I have put myself through.
Right.
For this whole thing. So, of course, I'm going to devalue it as much as possible. But saying I can't accept that it matches is basically like saying, well, I do accept that it exists, though. And it has some value. But I have to get so nitpicky about it that I'm like, no.
Right.
My 20 years is worth more, though.
Right. The fact that she says can't possibly accept.
Yep. That's why that verbiage is very important.
That which is just, everything gets so juicy with Haruno because when it comes right down to it, we've talked about her being a surgeon, right, with her needlework and all that stuff.
Yep. Sewing.
That is a really
inserting herself.
That is a really fucking arrogant position to put yourself into. Now, Haruno's good.
She's very good.
20 years of experience.
She's been groomed for this.
Well, right, but the whole thing with the business, right? She talks about that. But really, she's talking about the whole relationship dynamic and stuff. You know, she's talking about, even though she doesn't mention it until later, the whole idea of the self-deception, right?
Yeah.
And that's, and potentially that's happening even now. I can't possibly accept. There is no way that, you know, that this little thing that you have here is equal to my 20 years of experience. I would, quite frankly, if she had said that, I would agree with her, right? Like, yeah. One year in high school, even if it's a solid year, you make tons of progress and stuff. You've been doing this for 20 goddamn years. Of course.
Yeah.
But that's not what she said.
That's not what she said.
That's not what she said. And
she reveals her hand too much sometimes.
Right, because when it comes right down to it, the things that bother you most in other people are the things that you have seen or still do see in yourself.
And the things that you've never fully solved.
Right.
Because she has never had something genuine.
Yeah.
And she'll be damned if she's going to basically admit that these dumb high schoolers somehow found
Figured it
something
out.
through their
baka
just bumbling around.
And that's why Hiratsuka sensei, you fucking legend.
Yeah,
because Haruno being like, hey, codependency? Sure, that's a good thing to point out. You know, there are some aspects of that here.
In some ways
she's right, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But just because a word can be described, it can be used to describe a dynamic.
A majority of it, maybe.
A majority of it, even, right? Yeah. Like, that doesn't mean it's all of
that. Yep.
Don't bring your shit into this situation, right? But of course she does, because that's what she knows.
This is where it gets complicated, because she actually wants Hachiman and Yukino to succeed in this regard.
Right. Hachiman reminds her of herself, and Yukino is her sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Yui is the unfortunate third party where she's probably so upset that Yui has that clinging to the false ideas of what's genuine. Okay. That she's like, don't you realize that that's just going to leave you in pain?
Right, it's the, why are you signing yourself up to be collateral damage?
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably because she's painfully aware of what that looks like.
Because she's probably caused collateral damage.
I think she's been on the receiving end more maybe than the causing too.
Probably because of like her position in you know, her family and all of that stuff. But I would say if I were to peg someone as being the
You'd peg Haruno? What? Sorry.
That's besides the point. But that if Haruno were to look at this dynamic in this situation and to compare and to have someone in their group that she feels like she knows the most other than Hachiman, because Hachiman she compares to herself, it would be Yui. I'm guessing, this is a bit going out on a limb, and that she would compare Yui to maybe Hiratsuka. Now, not because their temperaments are very similar, right? Okay. But because I get the feeling that whatever Haruno's story was back when she was in high school and all of that stuff.
Yeah, we know minimal things, but
it's not
important that we know the details,
right.
Really.
But I get the feeling it was a similar situation where maybe Hiratsuka was the collateral damage equivalent somehow. And that is why...
Well, we know that they're not as close in terms of friendships anymore.
Exactly. And I'm guessing that might have been why, and that would be something that would still be a bit of a soft spot potentially for Haruno. Because when she looks at Yui, I don't... call me a terrible person, but I would not give Haruno enough credit that she would have the sympathy for a random stranger in order to actually care about them getting hurt. If there wasn't some similarity to her own past experiences.
Yeah. I think that sympathy is a bit of a different word to be used for it. I think it might just be empathy.
Yeah, I get a bit mixed up on the difference between those two.
Sympathy is basically like looking at someone in the midst of their crisis and going like, they're there. They're there. And then empathy is the... Oh, I feel that.
Right. The sympathy is more of the understanding, whereas the empathy is the actual feeling.
You actually bear that pain yourself, and I think that's something that when you look at empathy in the context of avoidance, some people use empathy to be their guiding stick to avoid things that are similar pains to what you've currently.
Oh, okay.
You currently bear. So people don't like looking in the mirror, basically.
Sure.
Now, I don't think that Yui is at all like Haruno.
No, that's Hachiman's role.
Yeah, that's Hachiman's kind of thing there. The whole you can't get drunk. But if you really want me to yield my position, then you're going to have to show me something worthwhile. Now, I really, really love the way things can be interpreted differently based on who she's talking to here. She's obviously talking to the group.
Yeah.
But
who individually?
But well, that's the thing. as the group, first and foremost, you as a group need to show me that you can do this, that you can pull this off. Now, there's 2 reasons I think for this. First one is it's going to prove to her that there's still hope for her and to have something genuine out there somewhere.
Sure, yeah.
Because if they can do it in 1 year, then, God, I can do it in 21.
Right.
Second thing here is that Yukino is in a bit of a way where she really needs this group of 3. She needs it also to end, but she's going to need these people.
Okay.
Even though her personality flaw means that she needs to be able to strike out on her own, because codependency and all that, it's still something where Haruno doesn't want Yukino to end up like her and not have these connections at the, mature points in her life where she's at. No, she wants that to still survive the transition into adulthood. Yeah, but if you think about it individually, you need to show me something there. Look who she's looking at.
It looks like she's looking at Yui.
I think she's looking at Hachiman.
Oh, yeah?
Personally. Now, they all kind of do that little look down of like, after all those years I spent being groomed, you can't expect me to give up just like that. You have to realize that it's going to be difficult to appease me. Now, they're all taking this individually because it does work primarily for the group. But she basically sets up the whole, Hachiman, let's go talk.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically saying I was slightly individually talking to you because those things are all going to get brought up again when we talk there. But this part just made me want to cry. They think back on the Volunteers Club, realizing all those weird things that they did and hang out and stuff, but that's what made it.
I want to give a special shout out to Yui.
Special,
I know I'm a Yui shipper, right? And so this might feel like it's coming from a place of bias, and it probably is.
Okay.
But I feel like this is worth noting. Yui was the one who got this ball rolling, this conversation, even though it didn't end up going there. And yeah, you could say that Haruno also got it rolling, right? Because she did the whole needlework instigator thing and all of that stuff, right?
Haruno very much wanted this conversation to happen. That's why she left. So
exactly.
You guys need to talk about this.
Yeah. But Yui actually broached the topic, acknowledged the elephant in the room, and she did it in a pretty great way. And that's something that, given that that's, I mean, it's been a weak spot for all of them, but for Yui in particular, I feel like that's something where she specifically will avoid it. Like
sure.
Yeah. So, way to go, girl. I hope this goes well for you.
Oh, I think
however it
happy
goes.
ending. I just don't think it's
right. It's not necessarily going to be what we expect.
The romantic side of things.
Right. It's a happy ending amidst the snafu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But now's the best time to end it. I'm totally okay if we keep this going, but if that's how you want it, then that's fine with me. And then they turn to Hachiman, and that poor boy just collapses under the pressure.
Yep.
And
Hiroha
was
gives
about
him
to
the
maybe
out.
say something, but look how conveniently Hiroha comes in.
Right. Now, yes, thank you for using that word conveniently, because we've had a few things established throughout this show.
Yep.
One, Hiroha mentioned just earlier in this episode that she's convenient. Two, we've had a lot of situations where people listen outside the door.
Yep.
Now, Haruno left the room just a little while ago. I would imagine that not long after, it wouldn't be too hard to think that
Hiroha
would notice that Haruno left and then be like, cool, now I'm going to watch. Yep. I'm going to pay close attention and see how this goes, because I have a very much a vested interest. And then all of a sudden,
they're ending the volunteer club.
Yep.
Nope.
And while she also wants something genuine, there are limits to what she is able to put up with in the moment, and all of a sudden she's like, wait, no, it can't go this way.
It can't end like this.
Let me stave it off a little bit longer, and maybe I'll still get that chance.
Yeah, because she wants this to be something that she's a part of next year. So she's going to try and stop it from dissolving here.
Yep.
Why would she want that to happen? This isn't something about her trying to stop some kind of Yukino Hachiman relationship or anything like that.
Although that might be part of it too.
No. I really think this is something where if she wanted to do that, there's all kinds of other stuff that she could be doing.
I think there's a very good possibility she is.
I know. That's the part that she would actually focus on doing. But she cares about Hachiman individually, and she also really does want to be a part of this group.
So in this part where he's basically struggling, where he's starting to flounder, she's like, all right, I'm coming to your rescue.
I'm coming to your rescue.
Convenient.
Exactly.
Nice.
Now, she, very much kind of plays it off really well.
Don't go away. The room still needs to be cleaned. I just wanted to also be in here.
Exactly. I wanted to basically kind of add in my own bit here. Now, could be all just convenient, but it's probably not important whether it is or not. The point is, Hachiman leaves, and Yukino chases after him.
Right.
Because she needs to thank him, not just for his help today, but for
since
all
the beginning,
the help that he's given.
And this is so the fact that Yukino chases after him, awesome, excellent. Everything that she says, I'm like, this is amazing. And the fact that she can't bear to let go, and she doesn't even realize she's doing it.
No.
Right? Yukino, that's maybe a good physical signal for your feelings and stuff, that there's something you're not addressing, and that telling Hachiman to go resolve that, fulfill that wish of yours that wasn't for yourself, might not be the best idea, because he had to literally pry your fingers away one at a time, and after he did, you were still left there holding the hand that he touched.
I mean, he kind of holds her hand, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I love this scene so much because her character had the most flaws, I would say, in the beginning of the show, of any character. She was the most flawed individual outside of maybe Hachiman.
Yeah,
but
maybe Hachiman is
the only
main
reason
character.
I think why Hachiman even comes close, though, is because we had that first-person perspective.
Yes.
So it's easier to see where his flaws are. But in a lot of ways, I think that Yukino was potentially even more flawed than Hachiman.
Yep.
Because Yukino has some of the benefits of, how to describe this? We don't know her situation as much, so it's easier to be sympathetic towards Hachiman's situation.
Sure.
Because we know what are the underlying circumstances and stuff.
Yeah.
Where it gets basically more multidimensional.
When he does stuff, we can also see the thought processes behind what he's doing.
Exactly. But with Yukino, we didn't really get that. We have to kind of make little observations and deductions based on the info that we get.
Yeah, what she's humble enough to actually talk about with another person.
Right.
Yeah.
But the amount that she's changed, even though in a lot of ways she stayed exactly the same, has been because of, the relationship that she's allowed herself to have with Hachiman. In a lot of ways, that's one of her biggest flaws, that's her pride there, is that she kind of she had to allow this to happen.
Yeah.
She's so constantly looked down on Hachiman that
I don't know.
now here.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And at the same
it's
time,
never so black and white. I'm just using that as a framework for the idea that this is her flaw, and now she's not allowing him to leave.
Okay.
She's holding on to taking too much control over this, and at the final moment where he kind of gives them an answer, even though he is scared and running away from the whole thing here, she's like, well, at least make the decision to me directly. I've been the one kind of holding you here. You came into my club room back then in episode 1.
Sure.
In some ways, I was supposed to help you, right? You were the one with the problem, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't so simple as just one of us being the one that needed the other, but Hiratsuka was thinking so far ahead, seeing how similar these two were, that this kind of a situation was always going to happen at some point, as long as they ended up actually, just liking each other, which, of course, they did.
Sure.
So.
And Yukino probably...
Well, Yukino wasn't a part of the equation originally.
No, but
sorry.
When Hachiman showed up, given the way that the edge that her banter took, I think it's fairly safe to assume that she probably fought this every step of the way until she realized, it's too late. And she's still kind of in denial about that, right?
Oh, she's absolutely.
And that's why she's trying to push him away and basically say, hey, you know, be with Yui, all that stuff, right? But, you know, she still holds on to him.
Like, yeah, it's the, I would rather have a wonderful dream than... Yeah, like it's not like she's unaware. She knows what. Well, the idea of, like we were talking about with Haruno, it's the difference between denying doesn't mean you think the thing doesn't exist. It means I know this thing exists,
right?
But I'm going to look away from it.
Yeah, it's the thing of because her feelings for Hachiman are also wrapped up with the whole deal with her one of her big flaws, which is deciding things for herself.
Yeah,
it's really difficult for her to move forward with it, right? And if anything, if there were to be a reason why I would think that Yukino wouldn't end up with Hachiman at the end of the story, it would be because of that. Sure. Because she can't actually get to the point where she's dealing with just her feelings for Hachiman and not also her need to be her own person and you know, have that independence and things like that. But but Yukino was the only one that ran out after Hachiman. Yeah. And the fact that we didn't need to focus on Iroha or Yui in the slightest, because that's almost to be expected at this point.
Yep.
That also breaks my heart.
Yeah, and then the individual prying of the fingers is beautiful. Yep. And we bump into Haruno. And
what are you trying to achieve here?
Things go into overdrive here. This was really good.
One of my favorite conversations in the series.
Yeah, like, this was so good.
Like the dialogue in this series pops so much. Like it is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, because there's aspects of it where we can see the clear distinction when it's genuine, or there's all kinds of stuff just...
Versus the verbal sparring, you know.
Hidden underneath the surface, yeah. And this is a genuine bit of dialogue here.
Yeah.
Haruno is not putting up any face masks or anything like that. Nothing...
Nope.
No holds barred. I don't care whether it's me or Yukino ends up doing it. I just want to leave. All I want is for you to leave me satisfied, no matter how it ends.
Yeah, like, oh man, and the fact that it's I want you to leave me satisfied, like that is such a powerful line here, because she's basically saying that she doesn't have agency in this situation, right? That it's about what you do.
Yeah, I am going to make you though.
Sure.
So she does have agency.
I'm going to antagonize you as much as I can and stuff, so that hopefully you will do that thing that leaves me satisfied, right? Yeah. But it's
so what you want me to see sincerity? I feel like I'm being mugged for my feelings instead of my wallet.
It's like, kind of.
That's basically it. Yeah. But just like me, my mother won't accept any of this either. Yeah. And then we bring up the idea that nothing is enough to satisfy her. Right. So you start to see the comparisons here. You start to see
who else wasn't able to satisfy mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, okay. Bringing up the bit where Hachiman's go, I'm not sure we could get along well enough to be considered friends. And she's like, oh, I love that you can still drop lines like that this late in the game. You truly do not know when to give up. Absolutely no one would be satisfied by that. And she walks away basically saying, come follow. And he asks the question, well, why wouldn't they? Because that wish was just a substitute for what she couldn't have. And Hachiman just has this thing of like, I immediately regret my decision. She's now completely vulnerable here. She's throwing everything she's got deep inside out here into the open.
In a lot of ways,
my God, this is...
Haruno has been now breached.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when she left, like, it could be that she was wanting him to follow her. My gut reaction is that this is getting uncomfortable for me. I am actually going to leave.
So, okay. Can I throw out a thing here that...
Counter theory?
That completely needs to be held in context here? So I will not give up until you have satisfied me, basically. Like, she needs him to make this point here. Everything like that, where she leaves and stuff, is like gives big Iroha energy. It's a dance. It's very much something that is meant to entice him to be open and ready to receive the real, genuine, harsh stuff that she has. So because it's very much a self-flagellation kind of thing as well. Like
most of the time I would agree.
Okay.
That if she's leaving, it's either because she's trying to set up another conversation in a different context, or because I've done my surgery, and now I exit, and I'll see you again next week.
But then why didn't she end the conversation and be like, no, we'll talk about that next time? I think
here,
here when he comes in and asks, she wants this stuff to continue here.
When he follows her,
when he follows her,
I think it's because she's compromised at this point. Because if she truly sees herself in Hachiman, right? And that's why it's not just that she wants to be him to satisfy her with what he ends up doing, but she needs it, right? It's that thing that helps give her hope for her own future, or like all that kind of complicated stuff where when you're dealing with someone that you project yourself onto, or you see them yourself in them. And then when he follows out after her, then it's the okay, you really want to get into it? Fine. And then it's the since I'm compromised, right? I'm not necessarily going to be a surgeon now. Now I'm just going to start making cuts, right? Yeah. I'll just say things that I know will have an effect, that will hurt, or whatever, right?
Right.
Because I can.
Because that's not only that they're genuine. They're
an outburst is incredibly genuine.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's that one, I wouldn't see her thing here as an outburst in terms of that. I really do feel like she holds
controlled outburst.
She holds herself back in general, like almost all the time.
Okay.
But in terms of the outburst, it's that she's not using subtlety here. It's not that she's lost control.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
not like a true absolute outburst, but comparatively for Haruno, right? That there's elements of that outburst where she wouldn't do this normally if not for the fact that she had a chip in her armor, or a chink in her armor.
Yeah, I get that, but I think I'm in disagreement with this idea that her armor was chinked in some way. That there was some kind of there was some kind of break in the facet of who she is, or something like that.
Okay.
I think this is how she believes, like, a genuine kind of interaction between this twisted look into the past of herself would be like. Okay. So it's a form of self-flagellation where she's like, this is what I would tell myself if I was actually, willing to listen. This is what I would do that. But it's very controlled and measured and pre-thought, pre-planned. It's very much the kind of thing that she's dwelt upon, thinking way in the past, and it gets brought up here because it's easy. It's not some she's not. I don't feel like she's out of control here.
I feel like that might be just a personal difference in definitions at that point.
Yeah,
because I would say if there's ever that point where using the self-flagellation as a metaphor, where suddenly there's bite in the words of this is what I would have told myself, that kind of thing, that's showing that it's not just a cold surgery, right? That there's some element of where heat is getting brought into it, even if it's still done in a way that is structured. That's the place that it's coming from. But
I feel like that's a I don't know. That's a you way of describing it, I guess.
Sure, totally. Yeah. And hey, for any of you guys watching, right? Like if you have alternate thoughts or takes on this or things like that or perspectives, shout it out in the comments, because pretty soon we'll be able to actually go through the comments for the show.
Because the series is over. Yeah.
Right.
But then she comes up to him and I think kind of reminds him that this isn't meant to inflict pain. That's why
the hand on the cheek. Yeah.
The hand on the cheek is saying, that's why I told you can't get drunk.
Yeah.
And that you can't get drunk side of things there, the ability to basically be cold to this whole thing.
Right.
And to not feel it, I think is why it's not kind of the thing that you're talking about here. It's all cold. It's all dead. It's all just a husk thing. It's not a thing about losing control or having some running hot or what have you. It's just, no, this is the truth. This is just the reality of the situation. It hurts, doesn't it? That's because you, at the very least, can recognize that it would hurt, especially if you brought it up in the context of those other two. But you're like me. It's not going to.
It's a bitch, isn't it?
It's not going to. It's not going to make you lose and spin out your center. Basically, you're not going to. You're not going to lose your sense of balance.
Okay.
You can't get drunk.
Well, yeah, that is one of the things that I'm very curious about, because when Haruno said earlier that she can't get drunk, right, in the previous episode, she was talking about a while ago. I very much took it as I do not have the capability of getting drunk, right?
You took it literally?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it might have been said in like overconfidence or something. Who knows, right? But
okay.
Whereas in this case, I feel like it can definitely be taken as the you don't have the ability to get drunk, versus, but it can also be taken as you don't have the luxury of getting drunk. You can't get drunk. More of a warning than a statement of fact. Because Hachiman has gotten a bit drunk, right?
Okay.
And I'm not sure which one I like better, because I feel like both of them work in different contexts within what's been happening in the story recently, right?
But look at this context here. If you don't settle this properly, it's just going to smolder away inside of you, like a flame basically dying out. Like, the flame is small and tiny, and she's not saying you can't burn. She's saying basically that you are living in a bit of self-deception, and thus your flame will die. So that is really interesting. I got the exact opposite from that. Okay.
And again, maybe this is a translation thing, so if anyone has further insight on this, feel free to clarify. But I saw it as that thing will still smolder away on your insides if you don't properly deal with it.
Do you know the definition of smolder, though?
Yeah, burn low.
Yeah.
And to have something like smolder away could mean smolder away into nothing, or it could mean like smolder away, like run wild.
No, there's no way that it can be that case here.
It totally could be. Like,
it
might not be, but
okay. Yeah, I will accept that for the case of I don't really care to debate it, but the smolder away is very much a look at the very next phrase here. No matter how
it will never end.
Oh wait, no matter how much time passes, it will never end. Okay, then that is actually a very weird.
That's why I think it's the thing of you need to deal with this. You can't afford to get drunk, because if you get drunk, you won't actually deal with this, and then it will continue to cause you pain. And that's what's happened to me.
Yeah, I've done my own shared scene for 20 years now, so I know all too well.
Right.
Well, there's nothing but deceiving myself.
And that's why there's this desperation to the things that she's saying and what she's getting at. Because she needs to see Hachiman actually beat this, because then she'll know, you know what, maybe I don't have to be so jaded. Maybe I actually can take another charge into the breach. Maybe, just maybe, this thing that beat me, I'll actually be able to take a second stab at.
Oh.
Because it's still smoldering away inside. And I hate it. And I can't stand to see it in other people.
Yeah. I think it's in where I got confused is you were using smoldering away with perfect present, which is meaning that it would continue to. But she never used smoldering. She was just, it's going to smolder away, which is like saying, hey, in the future, it will. So that's why I got confused.
Yeah.
Because she was speaking about it in terms of I
don't know as much about
the future.
Tenses and things like that.
But we just literally read the subtitles. I can show you again.
The
thing that I just got. See, that going to could mean that it's going to smolder or it's going to smolder away, and which emphasis is the going to kind of put on. And that's why I got confused, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But, all right, Hiratsuka.
And Hiratsuka comes in at the end and it's just like...
Immediately... No, there's a transition of time. There's a transition of time.
Hachiman thought on what Haruno said.
For a good portion of time.
Yeah.
To the point where she's closing up everything, then takes him to the freaking batting cages.
I love it.
And,
Yeah.
You can't simplify things down into one word.
Hiratsuka, like, when she was introduced in the first season, I will admit, I didn't think too highly of her.
Nope,
right?
Me neither.
It's like here's the cliche, like, ara, One-san that, is single and, ready to mingle and stuff and frequently punches the main character, right? But holy shit, she is one of my favorite characters in this series, and the amount of enjoyment that I get to her scenes compared to the amount of screen time she has is ridiculous. And the fact that she helps balance out Haruno in what Haruno does in the narrative so well, I love it. I love it so much. I would read all of the fanfic for Hiratsuka and Haruno.
But
maybe a bit of a tangent, but yeah.
But okay, that's the episode. All right, y'all. This is going to be a hell of a finale.
It will.
Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yes, if any that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.